So I'd like to talk about the performance of the Chiefs' pass defense in this game. Many fans are understandably upset. We consider Carolina's offense to not be a good offense. Their quarterback was benched this year and only got the starting job back when the backup Andy Dalton was injured in a car accident. So it was unsettling to Chiefs fans that Bryce Young threw for 260 some odd yards and a touchdown, and that the Panthers put up 27 points in a game that I think many expected the Chiefs defense to kind of keep a lid on Carolina through most of this game. So I went through a lot of the big passing plays by the Panthers in this game, so we can look at those in some detail and try to figure out if we can see a common thread into why were the Panthers so successful throwing the ball in this game, and what can we say about the Chiefs defense after this game. So we're going to start here on this first drive of the game from the Panthers. They're down 7-0, and they come out in a big set here. This is technically 12 personnel, one running back and two tight ends, but one of the tight ends is an offensive tackle. So this is a really big 12 personnel. This really looks to the defense like you're going to run the ball. And you can see that the Chiefs have responded in kind, right? They've got three linebackers on the field. They're in their base personnel. And they've got their run defending team in. This isn't Tershawn Wharton. This is Mike Pennell, the big nose tackle. And then they've got Mike Dana, another, mainly run defending. I mean, he's a starting defensive end, so he'll be there on many pass downs too, but his best work is against the run. They've manned up on the two wide receivers over here. I believe this is David Moore and this is Xavier Legette. And the Panthers are going to run Legette on a deep over, and they're going to run Moore on a crosser behind him. And they play action here out of this big set, which is the Chiefs already are starting with 8 in the box against this big formation. And the play action is going to really draw the linebackers in, as you would expect. So it essentially ends up being 2-on-2 here with a safety over the top to help out. So you can see the play action run. Cook is sitting over the top. You've got Legette on his deep over, and you've got Moore following. The Chiefs are able to, after the initial realization that this isn't a run play, they're able to generate some late pressure on Bryce Young, but not really force his throw. I mean, the pocket is starting to get a little muddy when he does throw it, and he's a smaller guy, so I'm not saying this is an easy throw. But the Chiefs had initially kind of paused, committed to the run, and then started their rush, so he does have enough time to make a throw. And he throws it to Xavier Legette coming across the middle. Now, Justin Reed has been much maligned by Chiefs fans for his coverage, but honestly, this coverage isn't terrible. He's, half a step behind, and Xavier Legette is an incredibly athletic wide receiver, if you remember, drafted in the second round of the draft, but some people were saying the Chiefs should have considered him at the end of the first round. Very athletic wide receiver. Justin Reed's running with him, and he's just about half a step slow. And Legette completes this pass. All right, Legette makes the catch, and he gets a 34-yard gain. So let's see this again from the end zone view. Here's the play action. You can see the entire defense is flowing toward the run fake. And why wouldn't they? This is a huge jumbo formation, right? Young rolls out. He has time, and then the Chiefs start collapsing the pocket. But look at this throw. This throw is right on the button. He hits Legette perfectly in stride. And again, looking at Reed's coverage, he's right, he's definitely, this isn't hip pocket coverage, but this isn't bad coverage either. I mean, this is a safety running with a very athletic wide receiver. And if Young hadn't hit him right in stride, there's a chance, if this ball was a little bit behind him, even on his shoulder, Reed might have been able to get to this ball. And if the ball is a little out in front, then, Legette might not have been able to get to this ball. It's a perfect throw. So, to me, I don't know that this is this was terrible defense on this play. This was a tough coverage assignment, a safety on one-on-one, and you can see why. They were in a jumbo formation, and you're trying to stop the run. The Panthers kind of get everything out of the run. That's their first mentality as an offense. And the quarterback made a great throw right on time. You know, great offense is going to beat great defense. And if you have one gripe with this play, it could be that it would be nice if Justin Reed could have, instead of half a step behind him, been right in his hip pocket. But again, there's a reason why Xavier Legette is considered such a great prospect in the draft, right? He's incredibly athletic. So I don't know that I can come out of this play thinking that there's something majorly wrong with the Chiefs defense. Like, this was a good play by the Panthers. It was a great throw by Bryce Young, and they completed a first down. So let's move on. Let's check out some other plays. So the next play we're going to look at is a 3rd-and-1 play on the Panthers' second drive. So at this point, it's 10-3 Kansas City, and the Panthers have a 3rd-and-1 on their own 39-yard line. So they line up here in 11 personnel. So they've got one running back, and they've got one tight end. The Chiefs respond to that by coming out in their nickel. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs on the field right here. So this is how they counter. There's one running back, one tight end. And the Panthers run a really nice play here. So what they're going to do is they're going to bring Jatavion Sanders in motion, and then they're going to fake a run action over behind him. So it looks like Sanders is a lead blocker. So watch this initially. See how this run action is looking? It looks like you've got the tight end leading the way over here, and you're going to hand it off to the running back who's going to follow his lead blocker. Remember, it's 3rd-and-1. So this looks like a situation where it's like this is what you got. And so the Chiefs respond as if they're defending the run. So they see the play action, look at Bolton come in, and the pass concept coming off of this from the Panthers is they're going to have Sanders come out and leak out into the flat, and then they've got opposing slants crossing each other across the field. And then the kicker is they have Adam Thielen lined up tight here. He is going to act like he's blocking and then run a leak concept, come out very late, and then come across the field and up. And so the other part of this to note is the Chiefs' coverage. Because as you may note, Adam Thielen pops wide open, and he ends up getting a huge gain on this play. And then the question is, what happened here? How did this happen? So what it looks like the Chiefs are doing is it looks like they're manned up. So they've got Najee Johnson on Legette. They've got Shamari Connor on Adam Thielen. McDuffie's over here on Brown. And Justin Reed is responsible for Jatavion Sanders. And as Sanders comes in motion, you can see Reed running with him, and then Cook starts signaling to Reed, hey, I got him, you stay. So whatever Cook's responsibility was going to be on that play, probably a zone responsibility, he's passing that off to Reed, and he's saying, I got this. Well, at the snap, Thielen's blocking, and so Shamari Connor then kind of takes on his block and then moves over to try to rush the passer as his man is blocking. However, once Connor gets past Thielen leaks out. Reed was on his way over when he got told by Cook to wait, take his zone, and then he immediately sees the run action, so he comes up and then realizes it's play action, and so he drops back to try to find work. But he's not going to be anywhere near a leaking Adam Thielen when he comes out. The guy who's supposed to guard him, Shamari Connor, was blitzing because he thought Adam Thielen was staying in the block, and so there's just nobody left to guard Thielen, and he just waltzes forward for a huge gain. Now let's see it here from the end zone view so you can see, again, how much they make this look like a run. They time the snap so that it looks like Jatavion Sanders is coming out, and he's got Hubbard coming out behind him, and Thielen's in here blocking. So this looks like a run play, so you can see Justin Reed coming up. But ultimately, it's a play action. Reed tries to wheel back and get into his zone. Connor here is rushing the passer, not realizing that his man, Thielen, is breaking out and running a leak, and he's just wide open. This is another play that, to me, I mean, I'm not really sure that I would take the point from this that the Chiefs defense played badly. This was a really well-run play in concept, and it was run at a good time on 3rd and 1 when you're expecting a run. And, you get the wide, oftentimes leak is run with a tight end, which it's a little more common. People expect sometimes that a tight end will try to block and then get out because so many teams do it. It's a lot less common to have a wide receiver in here running that concept. A lot of times when you have a wide receiver inline blocking, it's because it's actually a run. And so when this happens, I think everyone thinks this is a run concept. Connor specifically does, and Thielen gets out. I honestly, to me, the Panthers called a really good game up until this point. The two plays that I've seen, they're expecting, these situations where they give the Chiefs run looks. The Chiefs are keying on the run. And the first time, Young just made a great throw against coverage that was, not A coverage, but B coverage, which is, I think, what you expect out of your safeties in man-to-man. And it was a great throw. This one was just a really, really good concept that is difficult to deal with. And the one situation with your safety that might have been able to help out, well, the safeties are switching responsibilities literally at the snap. And so if whatever Reed's possible responsibility was, whether he was more of an underneath guy or in a more zero look, or if he was a cover one deep guy, he's getting that responsibility right now. Cook's giving it to him in this moment. And so as he's sprinting over and then trying to change what he's doing, he sees run, he's already up in the box, and so he's not going to be in position to be a deep player. Not that he would have stopped this play, but maybe he could have cut it off a little earlier than he did. Hard to say. But to me, more than anything, this is just a really, really well drawn up concept and utilized at the perfect time to take advantage of the Chiefs. I mean, this is a situation where, again, good offense beats good defense, and this was good offense. So the next play we're going to look at is from the Panthers' 2-minute drill. At this point, the Chiefs are up 20-6, and the Panthers have the ball with 40 seconds to go in the first half. They're trying to double dip because they get the ball to start the third quarter. So they want to score before half and then get the ball again after half. So like I said, 2nd down and 10 at the 30-yard line, 40 seconds to go in the half. They come out, and they've got their tight end lined up way out here. That's Jatavion Sanders. And their running back lined up way out here. So this is actually 11 personnel. This is wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. And they're going to run the following route concept. They're going to send him deep, send him on an out route. Over here, you're going to have an in cut and then a route underneath. That's similar to that drive concept we were talking about earlier. And Sanders is going to run in and then up. And so the Chiefs end up playing essentially a cover one man, but they do some match principles in the middle. So it's basically manned up, manned up, manned up, deep safety. And they have 3 here that are responsible for 2. So based on where these guys go, 2 of them are going to pick them up, and the third one will play an underneath zone. So if we kind of run through this play, the pass ends up going to Sanders over here, and he makes a catch over Najee Johnson, which kind of continued the chance of, Najee Johnson has been the one, I think, under the most scrutiny from the Chiefs fans. And so, of course, giving up a catch in the 2-minute drill, especially a long catch, will increase people saying that there's a kind of a problem with your play. So let's actually look at this play. So Sanders comes in, he's playing press. It's a physical start to the route. He presses him, he goes in, and then right here to me is the one mistake that Nazeeh Johnson makes. I mean, it's a good route from Sanders. He comes in and Johnson gets too handsy and he holds, and it's actually a penalty here. You can see the refs throw a flag. There's the flag right there. So that was Nazeeh's mistake on this play to me. If you look at the rest of his coverage, he's right here. I mean, he's right there in coverage. He doesn't get his head turned, but, he's right in his hip pocket, and this is a great contested catch by Sanders. I don't think this is bad corner play on this play at all, actually. Like, this is... Your one gripe could be that he didn't get his head turned, but the Chiefs have throughout, their Spagnuolo's tenure, he's looking for big-bodied, athletic corners that can tackle and that are sticky in coverage. The Chiefs haven't had a single corner that has been a ball winner. The closest to a ball winner has been L'Jarius Sneed, and he was not like anything more than like an average ball winner for a corner. That's why they don't get a lot of interceptions. That's not kind of who they are. Even right now, their safeties are not ball winners. The last real ball winner to play in the Chiefs' defensive backfield was Tyrann Mathieu. That's just not what the Chiefs do. And so if you're expecting, this, I don't even know how much, honestly, they are coached up to like look back for the ball and try to catch the ball. That doesn't seem to be the technique that these corners play with. They play with trail technique, sit in your hip pocket, force a difficult throw down the boundary, force the receiver toward the boundary as much as possible. I mean, this is really good coverage. This is tight coverage. This is a great catch. And I said it on Twitter during this game, and I really believe it. I really am getting 2018 Charvarius Ward vibes from Nazeeh Johnson. When Charvarius Ward started with the Chiefs, he started very late in the season. It was a late game against Seattle when he was brought in. And, early in Ward's tenure, even into 2019, he was a really handsy, physical corner who learned to stick with receivers over time, but drew a lot of holding penalties early on. This is where I think Nazeeh Johnson is in his development. He didn't play his first year. His second year, he missed entirely because of a torn ACL. This is his third year, and right when he got the starting job, when Jalen Watson was hurt, he got concussed in his first game. He's still learning the ropes here, and I think that a lot of fans are giving up on him too soon. I think he's going to be a good corner. He's just learning the ropes, and he's got some of these traits. I think one of the things that he's got to fix is he's been falling down a lot on different coverages throughout this year, which was not a problem in this game for him, actually. I thought he actually played a really good game, which we'll get to more of the narrative as we go forward, but this was one example. I mean, this is really good coverage. The problem was his penalty at the beginning. This is definitely a defensive holding. He got beat initially on the route, and he held the stay end of it. And that was a problem that Ward had initially, too, and the Chiefs got that cleaned up. I think they will here, too. But I don't know that this is a play where I look at this and was like, whoa, Nazeeh Johnson got burned. I mean, he played good coverage, and you know what? Again, Ja'Tavion Sanders, great tight end in college. Like, I think he's going to be a great tight end in the NFL. Athletic guy, made a great play. If there's one thing you could say the Chiefs did wrong in coverage, besides the hold from Johnson, is Bolton and Reed lost something in communication, and they ended up leaving David Moore wide open. So right here, like I said, this is clearly some kind of match combination where these three have to sort out that two of them are going to take these two. And what happens is once Connor sees them both go inside, I think he's basically like, well, that's them two now. They're going to have to figure this out. And so Connor is kind of off the hook here. But if you notice, both Bolton and Reed drive on Thielen's route. They both come to Thielen's route up, and then look, Moore's wide open right behind. And Reed notices and starts sprinting over in that direction. But by this point, Bryce is throwing it over to Sanders. But that's the one thing that really went wrong on this play, is that these two both jump right here and leave him wide open. One of them was supposed to stay back with Moore. One was supposed to go up with Thielen. In any case, though, I'm not sure that I, to this point, buy the narrative that the Chiefs had some horrible, irreparable performance. The plays we've seen so far have been, I'm not saying the Chiefs played great defense in this game. You don't play really great and give up 27 points, or especially give up touchdowns on crucial drives when you're trying to end the game. But at the same time, I don't think that this is some sign of a poor defensive performance, or this is going to be part of a narrative to come. I think that the Chiefs to this point, have played fine defense. They've played against, we've seen two passing concepts that were really good in run situations. And this time we've seen a guy just go up and make a play in tight coverage. So let's keep moving, though. Let's look at some more plays. This play I want to look at comes from 14:35 to go in the third quarter. The Panthers are now down 20-9. They kicked a field goal at the end of the first half, and they got the ball to start the third quarter. So they've got a 2nd and 12, and they come out here in what looks like it's either 10 or 11 personnel, depending. I don't know the Panthers personnel that well, so I don't know if one of these guys is a tight end. So there's clearly a running back, and there's probably a tight end. I think this is Thielen, this is Moore, this is Leggett, I believe. I'm not sure who this is. So if that's a tight end, it's 11 personnel. If it's a wide receiver, it's 10. And what we want to look at here is this play. It was a first down completion to David Moore. And again, this is another big play that, got them out of. They started in 1st and 15, and this ended up being a really long drive for the Panthers that ate up more than half of the third quarter and ended in a touchdown. So this play ended up being pretty crucial. It took them out of a potential 3rd and long here for 2nd and 12. And I just want to look at this play and what happened here. McDuffie's guarding Moore, and Moore challenges him vertically. McDuffie comes back, and Moore hits a curl, and McDuffie actually mirrors really well here. This is awesome coverage. But if you look at the throw from Bryce Young, it's perfectly on time. The timing is absolutely couldn't be any better than this. Right as he hits, the ball's on him. Moore does a great job of coming back to the ball right here. McDuffie actually gets a handout to contest, and he actually even rakes down over the ball, but Moore does a great job of pulling it in, and he gets a first down here. You can see from Young's perspective, he drops back, he fires this in there, and look at the coverage. I mean, McDuffie might even be covering him too tightly. He's got the arm around, which sometimes gets called and sometimes doesn't. But look at him get over the ball. Look at the ball's even being bobbled by Moore right there. McDuffie almost raked the ball out by getting through his arms, but Moore with strong hands manages to bring that ball in. This is where narratives of who catches the ball or who got caught on, and it's McDuffie was in coverage and he gave up this catch. I mean, this is not at all on McDuffie. This is a great coverage. This is just a great throw and a great catch. This throw was perfectly placed, perfectly on time, and Moore did a great job of coming back to the ball, and as McDuffie raked through his arms, he still, even though he bobbled it, hung on to it. I mean, there's not much you can do, if anything at all, as a defensive back here. This is just, Bryce Young was on one at times here. This is just a really good throw. And David Moore had a great game. And it wasn't because the Chiefs let him have something on a play like this. This is because he made a great play. So again, I really have nothing to criticize the Chiefs defense for on this one. You can't even really get into the pass rush because this ball came out pretty quickly. And if you look, Karlaftis was coming to try to bring pressure. Dana was crushing the pocket. This is a tough, when someone gets the ball out this quickly, it's really tough to have any kind of effect as a pass rusher. This was just a great play by the offense. We're later on the same drive. We are in that third quarter drive that ended in a touchdown. This time the Panthers have a 3rd and 10 at the Chiefs' 36-yard line, so a chance for the Chiefs to get off the field and potentially force a long field goal attempt. The Panthers come out in what looks like 11 personnel. The running back is out here, and I believe this is a tight end. Again, I apologize, I don't know their personnel that well. If this is a wide receiver, then this is 10 personnel. And the Chiefs come out here. Let's see. They look to be in their dime package. They've got 6 defensive backs, and Nick Bolton is the only linebacker on the field. So they're in their dime package. And the Chiefs end up just running a cover 2. So they show blitz, they drop out, and they're running a cover 2. They've got 3 underneath. They've got 2 deep safeties, and the corners are kind of looking at flat and cloud. So as they drop back, the route to watch here is David Moore. He runs up and runs kind of a deep slant post route right there. And as you can see, as Young is throwing it, Justin Reed gets a read on the play, and he drives on it immediately. He sees what's happening and lays a good hit, and Moore just holds on. This is another timing pattern. Moore's coming across. Young throws this right on time. And Reed sees it. It's not that Reed doesn't react. Reed sees this. The one real unfortunate thing for Justin Reed is I feel like David Moore jumped to a pretty good height here, because if he had jumped higher than this, then Reed can come underneath his legs and flip him over with the hit, which makes it a little harder to come to the ground with the ball. And if he doesn't jump as high, then Justin Reed can hit him right in the back and maybe pop the ball out with a hit. It just so happens that he jumps at a height that Justin Reed gets him in the thighs, but doesn't completely undercut him with the hit. He still looks like he hits the ground pretty hard, and he holds on through this. But again, this isn't a blown coverage or a big mistake by the Chiefs defense. They've got the routes accounted for. And Reed drives on it on time and gets there right after the ball gets there. And David Moore hangs on. And I think one of the reasons why, even though Reed drove on it, he got there after the ball got there is because this is a perfectly timed throw from Bryce Young. This is right on time. Again, good offense beats good defense, and this is good offense. I know it sounds like excuses are lazy to say, but it's Bryce Young played a really good game here. And if you look at these individual plays, I'm not seeing a ton of mistakes by the defense or big issues that the defense did wrong that led to these plays. Part of it is just Bryce Young and David Moore really being on the same page and making really good plays in this game. All right, we now are down to 6:26 to go in the third quarter. We're still on that long third quarter drive. So the Chiefs haven't even gotten the ball yet. And the Panthers have a 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. If you'll recall, the Chiefs actually got them to 4th and 1 at the 2, and Chuba Hubbard ran it. Mike Dana actually hit him before the line of scrimmage, and Hubbard unfortunately landed on Dana and was able to roll for the first down. I do wonder, had Dana not been lying on his back as he tried to make that tackle, if Hubbard had hit down, I'm not sure that he would have made the first down. So this was a hard scrap drive. This is the 15th play of the drive, I believe, at this point. And they've got a 2nd and goal here. And so at this point, it's still 20-9 Chiefs. So what the Panthers end up doing, they run David Moore slant again off of fake zone read action. So here they're going to fake the zone read to try to get everybody, including the underneath people, to come up. And then Young just fires this in on a slant. Perfectly placed ball again. Look at the coverage from McDuffie right here. McDuffie is right on his shoulder. And anywhere, if this ball is thrown anywhere except out here, look at how far out in front, but it's still in Moore's reach. If it's thrown anywhere else, McDuffie's going to get a hand on it. Look at his hand extending all the way out to here. And if he throws it any farther, this is an incomplete pass. But Young put this right on the money. And you want to see it in real time to see how fast it is. Right there. He just and shoots it right there, and Moore kind of almost like stabs it with his hand to go out and grab it. This is, again, a really great throw and catch. I don't know that it is fair. In fact, I would say it's clearly unfair to expect Trent McDuffie to do anything more in this play. Like, this is excellent coverage. It's just a really good throw and catch. Again, Young takes the snap. This run action is very important to draw up anybody who could be waiting underneath. And look at that throw. I mean, how do you defend that throw? This is perfect. This is right on time. Look at the extension there that Moore has to make to get it, just to make sure this throw is completely out of McDuffie's reach. That's a perfect throw. And a perfect throw is going to beat your defense. Like, that's, again, some of these really major completions that they've had to this point have been really good throws from Bryce Young. You know, I really, watching this tape, I really believe more. He had a really good game against the Chiefs. All right, let's see the next one. So on this last play of our evaluation of the Chiefs' pass defense, we are now on the Panthers' finals drive of the game. They're down 27-19, and they got a 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 29-yard line with about 1:55 to go in the game. So they're looking here to try to get a touchdown and 2-point conversion to tie this game before, basically on their last drive, their last shot to try to get back in this game down 8. And so the route to watch here, they're in 11 personnel again, 1 running back, 1 tight end. And the Chiefs, again, are in their dime. So they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs. And the Chiefs, essentially, they just play cover 1 man. They got Cook get the deep zone, Reed come down underneath. Everybody else is manned up. And you want to watch Thielen run a corner route on Shamari Connor here. So Thielen's going to run his route. And Connor, again, pretty tight in coverage. But as the ball gets there, he remains tight in coverage and prevents Thielen from coming back to the ball and doesn't get his head turned. So I talked earlier about how, Spagnuolo he often has coverage guys that are not as adept. That's not, ball skills have not been a big thing. And a lot of times getting their head around is something that has been an issue for Chiefs defensive backs. It's fine on that last play we're talking about with Najee Johnson, as he didn't contact the receiver or impede the receiver's progress. Unfortunately, in this case, Connor does. And this is one situation where it can really hurt you to not get your head around. If you're able to be under control and not contact the receiver, then, playing in his hip pocket and making a difficult throw over you is one thing. But if you're not, then you have to make an attempt to play the ball if there's going to be any contact whatsoever. And Connor was not able to do that, so he gets called for pass interference here. And we can see it up a little bit closer here. He's got tight coverage. He just fails at the end here at the point where the ball comes in. He doesn't allow Thielen to come back to the ball. And if there's any contact in that situation where your head's not turned, they're going to call pass interference every time. So this play ended up letting the Panthers down to the 1-yard line, and they were able to punch it in. And then after a failed try, but there was an unnecessary roughness call on Justin Reed, they ended up converting and tying the game at 27. So in this review then, we see, this play was clearly a coverage mistake by Shamari Connor. So that's one mistake. We talked earlier about Najee Johnson having a holding penalty, but his coverage was good. So that is, there was a mistake on that play, but it wasn't what caused the completion. And then the other possible gripe you could have is Justin Reed was a half step behind Xavier Legette on the first play we talked about. even though that's a safety against a fast wide receiver. So I don't know that you should expect any better. So this play to me was the one like clear mistake that happened, and even that was initially really good coverage. It was just the actual like playing the ball when the ball came in. So the rest of the plays to me were just really good plays by the Panthers. I think both Bryce Young and David Moore had really good games. Bryce Young throwing the ball on time and his ball placement was really great, and David Moore made some really tough catches. So yes, one would like to see the Chiefs defense put together a few more big plays and make some big stops to prevent the Panthers from scoring 27 and coming back in this game. On the other hand, this isn't a situation where I look at it and you see like, wow, the Chiefs defense is playing really badly. Yeah, they're going to have to make a couple more plays. Another point to note is they're not playing like incredibly exotic coverages in this game. They didn't do a ton to try to confuse Bryce Young, and that might have played into it. They thought they could just kind of heat him up and he would fall apart, and that wasn't the case. He played really well. But I don't know that prognostically this makes me think any differently about the Chiefs defense when it comes to the future, when it comes to the playoffs. They kind of lined up and played against this team, and their opposing quarterback made more plays than I think I would have expected him to make, and maybe others as well. But I don't see it as a reason for concern, and nor do I think the Chiefs played like terrible defense on this game. Yes, they made some mistakes. Yes, I would have liked to see a team of this caliber make a couple more plays to prevent it from being that close, but this was perfectly fine, and I think the Chiefs defense will play well going forward.